When you live with quote unquote high functioning schizophrenia or quote unquote well presenting schizophrenia, it's very ironic what you notice in other people's reactions. Over the years, I learned to be okay with my hallucinations, voices, visions, everything. And just by being okay with it and comfortable with myself and living my life and just being happy, I noticed that other people who can't handle their own reflection or they can't face like the subconscious in a way that's healthy, they like to repress a lot of emotion, a lot of reflection. You watch them kind of unravel or lose their own minds. Like you can just start talking about something very average for your own life. Like, yeah, I saw a face in the wall, it giggled, and then I just went on and continued eating my noodles. And depending on who hears that, you can get an interesting reaction. I just find it ironic because they'll say, oh, the schizophrenic person is crazy, they're unhinged, they're gonna act out. But when you actually are okay with, what you can't control, which in my case is hallucinations, voices, very quickly you will notice that there's certain kinds of people who, once they hear it, they want to argue with you. Sometimes they yell at you. Sometimes they treat you like you're like evil or all these other things. And then I'm just sitting there calm and they're freaking out and having their own existential crisis and wondering what everything is and all this stuff. And it's like they look at you like you're broken, and that somehow equates to being treated like you're less. And then when you're just like calm and okay with your hallucinations and okay with what you go through, suddenly it's like I find myself comforting other people with like the weight of how intense and insane life can get. It's become very common for me in my own life to be a calming presence for a lot of people who go through a lot of things. And you'd think that I'd be a person who would have that breaking point. And I've had breaking points. I've had moments where stress and intensity really took me down, or fear drove me into a delusional state of terror. But I just find it very interesting, like moving forward in my life and doing what I do. It's become more commonplace that I'll listen to somebody going through a hard time, or someone will tell me like the deepest, worst things that ever happened to them. And I could see them getting emotional and getting very like riled up by certain things. Oftentimes I'm just sitting listening because at this point, I don't feel like a lot of things really surprise me. Every day is a very uncanny experience. I don't know what to expect. I can't get rid of the feeling like everything is constantly watching me, like a tree or a shopping cart or anything. And so the idea of like falling into it and like letting all of these things like stop me from being loving, being happy, being who I am, it's just ridiculous at this point. So all I really care about is like inner peace and experiencing a beautiful life. Not ignoring things, but also just like keeping in mind, like I don't control everything. I'm not trying to. And going with that dance and that flow is a very wonderful feeling. And I hope through example of just like, observing, not absorbing, and just being present and being there for people that I love and creating and doing my art, I hope that other people know that they have it within them too to be. We're all going through a lot out here. I wish nothing but beauty, peace, growth, and fun for you. So yeah.